Hello everyone, sorry, myself Sherin Khadeeja representing Studio Uli. Studio Uli is a creative collaboration born from the distinct personalities and innovative vision of its three founding partners. Their unique personas serve as the driving force behind the conception and establishment of this dynamic space where creativity and originality converge. Driven by a passion for meaningful conversations and collaborations, the founders envisioned more than a conventional architecture studio. To bring this extravagant vision to life, they secured a spacious 4,500 square feet area, surpassing the typical scale for a practice of this nature. So this is the plan of Studio Uli. The open planning nullifies the effect of a low ceiling and also selective zoning essentially segregates private use spaces from the common use ones. So we have Gallery 69, we have an amphitheater, we have cabins, balcony, working station, pantry and toilets. As you enter the studio through a modest doorway, you are welcomed by the vastness of the interior space, which is subtle to look at with its monochromatic appeal. The visitor gets intrigued by Alabras and Encanto, two close-eye statuettes placed at strategic positions, adding narrative layers to the space. They also cast interesting shadows in the space during different times of the day. The space is intentionally kept bare and minimal as much as possible so that the visitor becomes a subject of interest once they enter it. Only a pop of copper brown is given at a few places, such as the reception desk, to break the monotony, as well as in congruence with one of the art pieces exhibited in the studio called The Anomaly. The textures and the chosen palette are entirely custom-made, saving up on the cost factor. So this is the amphitheater. The amphitheater here hosts talk series by people from different arenas and is open to public. This way, interactions with different fractions of the society in a close proximity is made possible, which in turn becomes a value addition to the studio's think tank. The Gallery 69, an exhibition wall, is dedicated to exhibit works of amateur artists of any medium, and the studio also hosts an opening ceremony for them. The space houses workshops, thrift sales, flea markets, bringing in an interesting variety of audience and help build networks in a better way. Every Saturdays, there is an in-house event called Saturday Socials, exclusively for the studio staff to relax and rejuvenate themselves. This conscious detachment from architecture and related content is also out of the thought that sometimes it just becomes a means to live our real lives. The founders having social circles which vary vividly, the thought was to grow together and a space that enables it by having collaborations that shall be beneficial to peer groups as well. These contain spaces for multiple startups, including architecture firms, which can benefit from the co-working amenity provided and can share the facilities that a full-fledged architecture studio would offer them at a reasonable price, minus the hassles of maintaining an office space. Such a symbiotic environment also results in project collaborations with these firms sometimes. So this is an artwork called The Anomaly, adding interest to the setting up with a pop of color at the co-working area. The whole floor plate, which accommodate the studio, has been considered equal to a real-time site and planning has been done accordingly. For instance, conversations get more interesting at this open deck space, overlooking the nearby plot with a lot of greenery with an interesting plumeria tree that enables framed views to the exterior during different times of the day along with the conversations. Studio Uli distinguishes itself within the competitive landscape of the industry through its unique approach of bringing individuals together to foster mutual growth. This deliberate move to unite diverse talents and ideas reflects a philosophy rooted in the belief that collective growth is more powerful than individual success. By encouraging collaboration and shared experiences, Studio Uli strives to create a workspace that transcends the typical constraints of the industry, fostering a community where everyone is not just a professional but a contributor to a shared journey. The human inspirations embedded in their practice are a testament to their belief in the transformative power of architecture and design. Studio Uli sees their workspace not merely as a venue for architectural endeavors, but as a platform for nurturing creativity, innovation, and a shared sense of purpose. They believe this ethos shapes a work environment where the human element is not overshadowed by professional ambitions, fostering a culture of collaboration, inspiration, and collective growth. So now we have audio visual. Thank you.
Okay, this is more like an interior project, right? Okay. So, I was trying to, I know that you said it in the end that it's an architect's office. But through this whole, your presentation, I was trying to figure out that who exactly is this space for? And it's just a question that comes to mind that does the making of the space, the articulation of the space, the architecture of the space have the ability to communicate or convey the nature of the practice that is sitting within it? And somehow I felt that I could, Tarun Tahaliani could run a studio in this. Or I don't know whether your music studios would work in this. I mean, the ability to capture the essence of the nature of the practice itself somehow seemed, it's very staged. It feels very staged and it feels very just there. It's almost like an exhibition by itself.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem to me at least, somehow capture exactly who is working there. So would you think, I mean, the larger question is, do you think that as architects, as interior designers, do we have the ability to tell the story of the nature of the practice?
Of course, because I would definitely say yes, because for the last 1 year, we have been working at the studio. So we had offices. When it comes to a little bit of history, we started off our office at a 700 square feet space, and then we wanted to move to a little more, a brighter space. Then we took a 100-year-old coconut godown and converted that to an office space. So we worked there. So there all, we wanted to do something else as well. Like I said, the founding partners, they have been very social. They want to collaborate with a lot of people and all. And we wanted to, we didn't, as you said, it looked like staged or like an exhibition space. It definitely is, because we wanted, we didn't want that kind of a studio where like, what would I say, like something that is not really usual, I would say, something that welcomes in a different perspective, because once a visitor gets in, he or she gets to see a different art culture there, where statuettes are there, then the exhibition is happening, where series of conversations are happening. So at the working culture of the studio, I would definitely say all these activities are actually adding different layers to us. It's, where are they?
Where is the you?
That's what. Because
no, but there is not a single model, there's not a single drawing on the wall. It's almost like a co-working space which doesn't acknowledge, it has a certain generic nature, it has a certain nature of being very abstract, but it doesn't capture the nature of the person who is going to inhabit that place. The others who are coming and going and exhibitions are happening is a secondary layer that one adds to the core.
I know. So
But what is the
basically,
core?
yeah. So basically, what is an architecture like? What I know from your, I mean, what I understand as a question is there is always a general notion of what an office has to be or how an architecture studio has to be. There should be a lot of, set of models or working papers. That definitely comes with the working culture. It doesn't mean that the photos, the videograph, it's all staged for sure. Because when it comes into the working culture, we are not sitting there and just looking at the exhibitions or that architecture perspective. We follow that. And obviously, when a meeting or a model making, the whole office is actually kind of a mess, We work like that. We want a space like this, which is very minimal, which is open to all, because the vision is much more beyond being an architecture studio. So that was the concept from the beginning itself. So yeah.
See, this is more for opening the dialogue. I'm not taking any position. I'm just kind of meandering between. The reason there was something shown. Now I'm just interpreting because something is shown. That something shown has been shown probably with something in the mind that it has to be a space that when we see it, the kind of reaction that you had or someone else has, that reaction is to be evoked actually. So you come in and you're suddenly surprised that this doesn't look like a conventional architect's office. But it is just, correct me, because this is an open dialogue.
Yeah.
I'm just interpreting what. But it may not be possible that this is the office unfolding, the images we saw, in its reality of inhabitation. So the question I would like to, why would the mess, so-called mess, of an architect's office, in such a pristine, well-designed space, not be celebrated as well? And that's the only question I have.
Yes.
Because this is the substrate, this is the backdrop, This is probably, I would think, the day the studio was inaugurated, you're seeing it, it's something like that. So you see the starkness of what the studio is. So I was curious, why is that mess? Because that mess, when she says you, the mess is about creating a container which can celebrate the mess. And now in a space like this, you can also distinguish between the mess and if it's the mess. Mess in a nicer word.
Yeah.
But why would you not, I'm curious to know, why would you not celebrate that mess where, some model is there, something is cut, and then show it against this. So we know that the space can transform in so many other ways, So this is what was going through my mind, because I'm very sure a practice of this nature which has grown, they were talking of growing, from a 700 square feet, there's something. So it would also think of from here, where will it grow? And from here, when it grows, how will this also kind of distort, change, morph? There'll be those questions. So it's not, this is just a frozen moment we are watching. But maybe the question should go into continuity, go into how do we inhabit the space? How do we mess the space? Do we like the mess or we don't like the mess? Will we celebrate the mess or not? And those are the issues, which I would be more keen if you can briefly kind of, talk about that. What is not shown.
Yeah, I think we should have done that while taking the photographs or videos, because we wanted to, actually, I haven't thought like that while during the photo shoot, and also we were like, okay, the space, the statues, the artwork, the lights, the shadows. And obviously, as we all know, an architecture studio, how it is going to be from 9:30, I don't know when we end, that night or whatever. So that's like, that goes on. So this is the whole point of this, the whole space is like, we started the whole co-working or everything for our staffs actually, our family. Because we have always been on the desk looking at the laptop or the screens or on the digital screen or whatever screen time. Or their social circle, even our social circle is also very limited to architects. So we are not getting a chance to know what is happening outside other than architecture. So that is why we started the whole point of this conversation series. People from whole sectors are coming there, talking about it, and each and every time while they speak, our people are getting so inspired. And it's like not just architecture, but also a complete development, a personality or mindset, giving it a broader version of it, I would say. So something like that. It was obviously an experiment, but we are so happy that we have a space like that, and it's definitely like welcoming each and every day the moment we enter in. So it's, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, sorry.
I won't take too long. You mentioned that your office space overcomes typical forces of the industry, and I think building on both Meghal and Durganan, the way I interpret their comments is that if you're looking at the current, what is the nature of the industry? It's qualified by a fair degree of genericness, as Meghal mentioned. It's also qualified by globalization, international trade. There's enormous amount of standardized materiality, right, that we experience, and our built environment is now more and more determined by trade and commerce and globalization. And that's what the typical forces of the industry represents, so, and it's all about finance, which brings about a certain level of neutrality to space. It brings about a certain level of impersonality, which is what I feel that I've been to your office, so I know, and I'm just reflecting on that as well, that impersonality is actually not very much signifying an intention to overcome the typical forces of the industry, is how I would look at this space. Yeah. So I'm articulating very much what they're saying, but in a different sort of a lens of globalization and international trade, capitalism, finance, financialization of the world economy is where we are today, So I think we need to think about architectural spaces through the lens of financialization of the world economy as well.
Yeah. So can I add? Yeah. So while I was presenting, I was talking about how the visitors are coming, doing this, that and all. But every week we are getting around 50 new people, 50 new visitors are coming into the office. So obviously we are architects and we make use of it, At least right now we have 4 major clients, not from family and friends, thank God. That I would definitely say that, okay? So they came in, they saw the studio, and now they're really reliable, I mean, we are really reliable to them. So they see how we are running all this, multiple offices inside. And there are also architects who are being co-working in our studio. So that is all our strength, I would say. So we have been getting a business or the financial, because a 4,500 square feet in the middle of the city, we can imagine the expenses that comes with it. So for the last 1 year, we have been getting business also with all these kind of interactions and the social interactions. So it's been going definitely well. I'm so really proud to say that. Thank you.